Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to our action research proposal. Our group consists of myself, Sarah Pshiborowska, Stephanie Vaccaro, and Pavitra Vigneswaran. Our action research project focuses on how anxiety-reducing strategies affect student learning in the classroom. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 1 in 5 Canadians will personally experience a mental health illness. In youth, 10 to 20% of Canadians are affected with a mental health problem, with only 1 in 5 children receiving mental health services that they require. Students with anxiety often go unnoticed, and recognizing how to support these students is crucial for educators because it is our role to establish a classroom environment that is safe, inclusive, and positive for each and every student. Understanding how students with anxiety can be supported in the classroom by implementing anxiety-reducing strategies can showcase the positive impacts on student learning and help us as educators differentiate to ensure each student is confident in their abilities and can succeed. We believe that students should feel supported holistically, including their mental health. Based on personal school and work experiences, there are many students who struggle in their learning with mental health issues, particularly from anxiety. We believe the use of anxiety-reducing strategies within the classroom can help create an equitable environment for all students to succeed. Therefore, by driving research in this area, we seek to drive systems thinking within the education sector to create practical guidelines and seek to challenge research in regards to these strategies to formulate an evidence-based decision-making model for children with anxiety. Our research findings concluded the importance of addressing anxiety within the classroom, as anxiety disorders in young students are prevalent, and untreated childhood anxiety can lead into chronic depression, substance abuse, and consistent problems with anxiety in adulthood. One study focused on the benefits of mindful art making on anxiety in a classroom setting, which is a potential intervention that teachers can use in their classrooms. Many of the studies investigated a variety of teaching tips that increase and promote positive student learning experiences, such as teaching breathing techniques, providing supportive comments, and reading stories about characters overcoming stress. One particular study by Headley and Campbell examined primary teachers' knowledge of anxiety and excessive anxiety disorders in children. The study highlighted the need for educators to fully understand what anxiety is in order to fully support students who experience it, and to help them reach their potential. Moreover, much of the research suggests educators play a key role in implementing classroom accommodations. For example, accommodating students on tests by providing a quiet space and extra time. Thus, these research findings present anxiety-reducing strategies as positively impacting student learning experiences, both for students with anxiety and those without. It also suggests the lack of knowledge educators may have on how to support these students within the classroom.
After conducting a literature review based on our topic of interest, the question we have developed and refined, which will be central to our research, is: how will the use of anxiety-reducing strategies affect student learning in a grade 5 classroom? To address the issue of how anxiety-reducing strategies affect student learning, the following strategies would be implemented in the classroom, and the effects would then be observed and noted. The first strategy is creating a task-focused classroom environment. This involves focusing on completing tasks rather than on students' ability. The teacher will establish an environment that provides variety in learning, assists in determining personal goals, and reduces competition amongst students. For example, this can be achieved by clearly laying out expectations for students and grouping students to work collaboratively together, where they are more likely to share their thoughts, opinions, and answers. A task-focused environment reduces performance anxiety in students and encourages positive peer interactions. The second strategy is the incorporation of mindfulness activities that give students the opportunity to ease and manage their stress and to reduce their anxiety. The teacher will implement daily mood check-ins, where students will learn to be aware of and to document how they are feeling. Based on these check-ins, the teacher will have students engage in mindfulness activities. Examples include participating in whole class yoga, engaging in a variety of deep breathing exercises, and a short coloring activity before completing tests, to name a few. This teaches students how to manage their stress and learn effective coping strategies. The action research will be conducted in a kindergarten to grade 5 public school in Mississauga, situated in a middle-income neighborhood. The participants who will provide the data for this research will be students in one grade 5 classroom, comprising of 25 students and the homeroom teacher. There are 11 female students and 14 male students. In addition, there are 4 students who are identified as English language learners and 3 students with an IEP. The teacher-researcher will conduct the research by implementing anxiety-reducing strategies and examining its effects on student learning, and this data will be collected in the classroom. It is important for researchers to consider the well-being of their participants when conducting their research. Ethical guidelines must be adhered to throughout the Action Research project. We will be implementing the following strategies to maintain privacy and confidentiality. All data, personal information, and consent forms will be securely locked. Names will be removed from work, and pseudonyms will be used in writing reports and assuring participants' anonymity. At the end of research, students' work, such as their student journals, will be returned or shredded to protect participant confidentiality. Students and parents will be fully informed of the research and its benefits via a letter sent home, with teacher-researchers' contact information listed to answer any questions or concerns. Participation from students will be voluntary, and it will be made explicit that participants may withdraw from the study at any time and for any reason without penalty. All students participating in the study will be treated equally, fairly, and given the same learning opportunities. And lastly, we will be following any additional school board ethical policies in order to conduct the Action Research project.
We carefully selected 3 data sources that best fit our action research. They are questionnaires, teacher journals and observation checklists, and student journals. Our questionnaires will incorporate open-ended questions that can be used to measure student anxiety levels pre- and post-intervention, as well as throughout the school day as a daily check-in tool. The data collection will be analyzed to show whether the mindfulness intervention is successful in reducing anxiety in students. We believe that questionnaires are the best tool for collecting data from a classroom of students to understand their emotional state. We believe that teacher journals and observation checklists would help show how an anxiety-reducing strategy, such as group collaboration in a task-focused environment, is effective, and how mindfulness activities affect anxiety levels. This data source was chosen as it provides researchers with written records that can be used as evidence in the Action Research project. Lastly, we think that journaling gives students the opportunity to reflect and write about how they are feeling. This form of qualitative data can provide researchers with valuable information about how students are responding to anxiety-reducing strategies being used and whether these strategies are effective. We have created a timeline to best fit our proposed research. This timeline suggests conducting student questionnaires twice a week after lunch from September to December, the collection of daily student journals for the same period, and lastly, the weekly analysis of student data collection through researcher journals done every Friday from September to December. In terms of data analysis for questionnaires, we will be using Excel to input all data of student responses. Based on the data collected, the researcher will analyze students' anxiety level pre- and post-intervention to determine the effectiveness of anxiety-reducing strategies. In terms of data analysis for student journals, once the students have completed writing in their journals, the steps for coding will be used to analyze the data collected. The researcher will read each journal to look for similar themes and patterns that emerge from the data to include the findings in the final report. And finally, in terms of data analysis for researcher journals, once the researcher has completed filling out the observation checklist and writing anecdotal notes in their researcher journal, the steps for coding will be used to analyze the data collected. The researcher will read the journal, consider the underlying meaning of the data, make connections, and as well as look for themes and patterns that emerge from the data. Overall, in this virtual poster presentation, we hope you understand how students with anxiety can be supported in the classroom by implementing anxiety-reducing strategies. Thank you for taking the time to review our Action Research project.